Welcome to Conversations That Matter, a policy-driven conversation with local leaders to discuss the issues most affect the quality of life of Kern County residents. I'm Mike Turnipseed, Executive Director of the Kern County Taxpayers Association, and our guest today is Arias, Bakersfield City Councilman from Ward 1. How are you, Eric?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Who is Arias?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's hard to believe that I'm already in my third year of serving on the Bakersfield City Council, but I was born and raised right here in Bakersfield. Interestingly enough, after my mother had me at Memorial Hospital, she packed up our bags and moved us down to Oceanside to join my father, who was serving as a Marine. We did about 7 years there. After he finished his service there, we moved back to Bakersfield and grew up, went to local public schools, and eventually got lucky enough, worked a little hard along the way as well, and made it to UCSB. So did 4 years at Santa Barbara. I was the first in my family to actually leave Kern County to go to college. So that was really exciting, and went there and decided that I wanted to study political science. And after graduating and rejecting everybody's advice to not pursue a degree in political science, I graduated and decided, hey, what better way to give back to my community than come back and serve? And so came back, worked for County Supervisor Leticia Perez, who's still in office, worked for Rudy Salas in the State Assembly, and realized that I had really developed a decent understanding of some of the issues that were affecting not only East Bakersfield, but specifically Southeast Bakersfield in those capacities. And when Willie Rivera had stepped down, I realized that there was an opportunity to serve on the city council. So I decided to run, won, and it was a short 2-year term actually. So just this past year, won re-election and was unopposed. And so gearing up for our third year and excited for a lot of big things in the city of Bakersfield.
So in your first 2 years, what do you think your greatest accomplishment has been?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff that the city has done, but two things that I think really stick out in my mind. One is, beyond 2 years ago, we were not having conversations about reinvesting in specifically some of our disadvantaged communities. And working with you, working with other community leaders, recognized that there was such an opportunity for the city to invest and transform MLK Park. We remember there was a lot of nuisance, there was a lot of homeless. There's still some of those challenges there in the park, but the city now has a comprehensive plan and strategy of how they're going to reinvest and really turn MLK into a destination center, which for a long time, there really hasn't been one on the east side. And we're really excited to make that the cornerstone of that community and utilize it to not only improve the community there, but the broader neighborhood. Utilizing that investment. So I'm really proud of MLK Park and excited for what's to come there. I'm also really proud of redistricting and the way that that's played out. I think during those redistricting hearings last year, we had a number of community leaders and community members come to us and say, hey, the city of Bakersfield does not look the same that it did 20 years ago. It's doubled in size in my lifetime alone. It's become even more diverse. And it's about time that we have a council and a map that reflects that diversity. And so with the support of my colleagues, we were able to pass that map, and I think the city is better because of it.
So what do you think that's going to make it different? What is the difference going to be in the long term?
Yeah.
We're talking, it's been about the same for 30 years, and we're looking at how that changing wards and new members coming on the council are going to change the direction of the city. So what do you expect to happen in the next 4 to 5 years specifically as a result of this redistricting?
Yeah, I think to answer your question directly, the city is going to be able to move much quicker. I think there's a new energy. Obviously, last year we saw the election of Manpreet Kaur, who got elected to Ward 7 for the city of Bakersfield. And she's already bringing these new ideas. She's coming back fresh from the University of Wisconsin. And I think the city itself realizes that the challenges are great, but it requires an effective and quick and fast-moving government. And I think we're going to be, not only as a council, but as an entire city staff going to be able to move a lot more quicker, whether that be on homelessness, whether that be reducing response times for BPD when you need them in emergency times, but then also our ability to just tackle some of the basic stuff. Improvements to our parks, utilizing our park rangers, investing in addressing some of the potholes in your neighborhood. I think that type of energy is going to be in part because of what we did in the redistricting process.
Well, let's take a short break. We're going to have a message from Kern Tax now, and we'll get back in a couple seconds.
Hello, I'm Kristen Dowd, and I serve on the Kern Tax Board of Directors. Kern Tax engages in complex regulatory issues such as utilities and other matters that are of great importance to our community and the businesses that exist here in Kern County.
Welcome back. In Ward 1, which is obviously the most challenged ward in the city, what specific plans and goals do you have, short-term and long-term, for the revitalization of East Bakersfield?
Yeah, I think it's tough to have a conversation with my constituents about revitalization without starting with public safety and crime. And so I know that the city has worked diligently to staff up with the Measure N dollars that have been allocated by voters. And we're at about 60, and we need about 40 more to get to that full 100 additional officer complement. I think that is part and parcel of what we need to do in order to address some of the public safety and crime challenges in the area. But more than that, I think we need to take a look at how do we measure ourselves and our performance in a way that actually touches the lives of voters and residents. And so that's why on next Wednesday, I'll be making a referral so that we can have a discussion about how we create a strategic plan to reduce those response times, whether that's a level 1 emergency or a level 2. How do we best utilize and leverage our resources and staff to get to you as quickly as possible in those moments of crises? I think that's conversation number 1. The second part of this is about revitalization. You go to any household in Ward 1, you're going to hear about the lack of opportunity, the lack of jobs. And so I'm really proud to announce that we're really creating this kind of organic public-private partnership to bring the first grocery store development down to Southeast Bakersfield. It's going to be right there off of MLK Boulevard and White Lane. It has been more than 30 years since they've seen that type of investment, and it's going to include obviously a grocery store, a retail store, but also a federally qualified health clinic, and an opportunity for specifically some of those small businesses and restaurants that are looking to create a footprint. It'll give them that small space and opportunity to go ahead and do just that. And so obviously those will be amenities for the community, but that really, on the other hand, creates jobs and opportunities for local community members.
Okay. So broadening our horizon a little bit for discussion, what are the issues the city as a whole face on a global view, and what solutions do you have or think are going to happen over the next few years that are going to be noticeable and that people are going to see that change is actually happening?
Yeah, it's not an easy one, but there won't go a day by where we don't have conversations about affordable housing and homelessness. It's widespread and throughout the entire city. And by the way, it's not just the city of Bakersfield that's experiencing these challenges. But with that said, there's a lot of key parts to the solution that we've really worked really hard to establish over the past couple of years. One is creating the Economic Development Department within the city of Bakersfield. We now have an entire staff that is dedicated to not only responding to homelessness challenges that are facing residents and businesses every single day, but we also have a part of that team that's dedicated to working towards creating those affordable housing units, making sure that we can place homeless individuals, should they want to get into them, into some of those emergency shelter programs. And I think we've done a really good job at getting that piece together. What we're facing right now is a bottleneck where many of those individuals who are in those emergency shelters don't have a affordable housing unit to go into permanently. And so I'm proud to announce that Brundage Lane Navigation Center just placed its 200th individual into permanent supportive housing, which is incredible. They've only been around for a little less than 2 years now. But we've got to continue to do that work. And the way that we streamline and speed up that work is by actually creating more of those affordable units. And I think that, just to kind of round it off, we know this, and we're getting ready to allocate many large investments to make sure that that gets done over the next couple of years.
Let's take another short break here to hear from a member of the Kern Tax Board on different projects that Kern Tax is working on.
Hi, I'm Adam Cohen. I'm a Board of Director at Kern Tax. At Kern Tax, we believe in data-driven policy making. To do this, we engage community leaders and help support fact-based research on issues that matter to our community.
Welcome back. Well, you talked about many of the challenges facing the city as a whole and improving quality of life. Since the passage of Measure N, the city has spent $280 million. And many people we talk to don't see the changes. They don't see the fact that 200 people got placed in permanent housing. People like to see a return on your investment. Maybe list a few things where they're more visible and that the average citizen can say, yeah, they're doing that, and we get it.
Yeah.
Versus we don't see anything.
Yeah, I'll start by agreeing with you. In my honest conversations with constituents and stakeholders, the truth is they don't feel the impacts and the investments quite yet. But my response to them is that, you should over the next couple of years. Certainly on the public safety front, like I mentioned, we're staffing up BPD. We have about 60 of those vacancies already filled. We're looking at doing an additional 40, trying to keep up with population growth. The city of Bakersfield is one of the fastest growing cities in the state of California right now. But we know that with that, coupled with some new strategies to address some of those response times, we really feel that public safety and our performance of the Bakersfield Police Department is going to improve, and residents are going to be able to feel that in those moments of emergency. I think when it comes to affordable housing and homelessness, we have quite a few things to be optimistic about. The first one is that Governor Newsom signed the piece of legislation surrounding the homelessness court. This is going to be a transformative new tool that the counties and cities work together to create to really help homeless individuals connect with services, specifically if they're experiencing drug addiction, substance abuse, or any challenge of that capacity in nature. So it's going to take a year or two for that program to be built out, but will be another tool in the tool bag, so to speak, so that we can really address some of those individuals with some of the greatest challenges and barriers to getting back on their feet. You add on to that the investment that we're making in affordable housing, and I think that we've got a lot of reason to be optimistic that voters will truly feel the impacts of Measure N.
We hope so. As taxpayers who are writing the checks to a tune of $100 million a year now, we hope to see that speed up a little bit and the return on investment become more visible. So do you have any closing thoughts for our audience today?
A couple thoughts. One, we feel that too as council members. We know that the check is coming due very soon. It's been a number of years since the passage of Measure N, and it's time for us to show up and demonstrate that the investments that voters made in 2018 are actually real and that they are going to help themselves, their family members, and their neighborhoods. And so we know that, we see that, and we will continue to move expeditiously. But I also want to give a shout out to the 2021 Kern Leaders Academy, along with Michael Turnipseed, but a couple of my good friends, Kevin Oliver, Alex Garcia, Rhonda Newport, and just say thank you for that opportunity to go through the program, and I look forward to working with all the future classes of KLA.
We're always looking for future leaders to come in and get a fully rounded view of what leadership is and what it can be and what it can bring to a community. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I want to thank you for being here today. We also want to thank the viewers who watched our broadcast today. And if you have any comments, please contact us at www.kerntaxpayers.org and leave a message. I additionally want to thank Lisa Kirch and the video production class at the CTEC Career Training Education Center out on Old River Road. It was built by taxpayers and opened up in 2020. And they now have up to 38 different programs in vocational training, and probably the best vocational training center in the country. It's something that we can all be very proud of. And again, I want to thank Lisa and the students for their time in producing this video. Once again, I want to thank everybody for watching Conversations That Matter. Have a good day.